Hello everyone, Coming Clean here. The year is now 2022 and it's as good a year as any to get into the Skylanders franchise. Picking a game to start off your journey with is not necessarily an easy task. The first game, Spyro's Adventure, might seem like a logical choice and it can definitely be that. In this video I will however give you 5 reasons why I think Skylanders SuperChargers might be a good game to start off with. I hope you'll enjoy it. All of the 6 Skylanders games are someone's favorite for various reasons. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, but there are a few reasons why I think SuperChargers is a good place to start with, even though it was the 5th game to be released. Let's get right into it. My first point is that the story in all Skylanders games is easy to follow even if you haven't played any of the other games. Therefore, starting off with the 5th game is really no problem from a narrative perspective. Sure, you'll miss a few references here and there, and if you haven't played the previous titles, you may lack a certain emotional attachment to the non-playable characters and the world, but at no point will you feel lost. I'm not saying that the story is overly simplified, but it is a straightforward tale about the good and evil and an oppressing ruler. SuperChargers actually had a bit more focus on the story and cutscenes than the previous titles, but all in all, the Skylanders games are focused on the diverse cast of playable characters and their abilities rather than on the narrative. The second point on my list is that SuperChargers is available on the last-gen consoles, and by that I mean PS4 and Xbox One. That way you'll be able to get the best gaming experience from a technical perspective, and you can also play the games on current-gen, as in PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. If you own a console from the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, SuperChargers is available on those consoles too, but then you'll also have the option of starting off with Spyro's Adventure or Giants. My guess is that younger gamers out there who might want to get into the Skylanders franchise don't own a legacy console, and then I think that SuperChargers is a great place to start. And I know that Nintendo has consoles where you can play Skylanders too, it's just a bit more fussy which console generation they belong to. Also, Swap Force, Trap Team and Imaginators are usually hard to find for last gen, and when you do, they're also quite expensive. Imaginators is a game that I made quite a few videos about that I have on my channel that you are more than welcome to check out. SuperChargers, however, tend to be much more affordable than the other last-gen games, which is actually the next point on my list. Even though the term is relative, SuperChargers is more affordable than the other later games in the series. You actually just need one Skylander and a vehicle from all 3 types, land, water and air, to experience most but not all that the game has to offer. Even though the characters and vehicles are not exactly free, very few of them tend to rise to the price of what you will have to pay for your senses for Imaginators. There are some rarities for SuperChargers, like certain chase variants, Double Dare Trigger Happy and also the coveted land trophy, but if you set your mind to collect most of what was released for the game, it won't leave you a Trap Team or Imaginator size hole in your wallet. Also, you'll get quite some bang for your buck, since the gameplay aspect of this game is pretty solid, which brings me to my next point. My next point is that the gameplay in this game is, well, pretty solid. I personally fell in love with the game right away, and I did a video about it that you can find on the card appearing on screen right now and in the video description. From Swap Force and forward, the developers for the Skylanders games really expanded upon the movesets of each character to add some depth to the combat, and SuperCharger is no exception. The cast is very diverse both from a visual perspective and gameplay-wise, and there are also some quite unique mechanics. Stormblade has a few moves that work differently from the air, emphasizing her bird-like appearance, and Smash Hit's Morningstar works like a disjointed weapon that they really sell the impact of, just to name a few examples. One of the big selling points for this game was of course the vehicles that you can use at various sections throughout the game. People seem to have mixed experiences with these, but I think they are solid enough and mix up the gameplay perfectly. There are some sections that are purely focused on combat and others that are leaned more towards racing. If racing is your thing, there is an entire separate section with various races taking place over land, water and air. If you pay up for the optional physical trophies, you can even unlock certain villain characters that are playable in this mode. Racing in water and air is also something we don't see in video games too often, so this game might be worth picking up just because of that reason. Hopefully, you will eventually find that copy of Skylanders Imaginators for PS4 or Xbox One that you want so badly, and this brings us to the last point on my list. That is that more or less everything you buy for SuperChargers will be viable for use in Skylanders Imaginators. The SuperCharger characters are not really up there on the same power level as the Senseis, but they are at least strong enough to be used at many levels in the game. The entire racing part for SuperChargers is also present in Imaginators from the hub world, including the parts for the physical trophies, which means you can play it all again, I guess. But like I said before, these tracks are a lot of fun. If you do own a legacy console like a Nintendo Wii, PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, then maybe Spyro's Adventure or Giants might be more logical starting points. If all you own, however, is a last-gen or current generation console, then I would have to argue that Skylanders SuperChargers might be a great option for a first game as well. That is it for this video. If you can think of another Skylanders game that you think is a great starting point, then please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Coming Clean and I will see you next time. Take care!